Hi all, my name is Jonathan Lamb. I'll be your professor for this course. I'm the lead professor of calculus at Pellissippi State. I absolutely love calculus, and my goal is to get you to really enjoy this class too. Um, Calc 2 is a considerably more difficult class than Calc 1. So I do want you to approach this class, especially in this online format of the class, with dedication in order to help ensure that you're successful in this class. Um, I wouldn't really recommend this class online. I think it's better to go over it in person. However, I promise I will do as much as I can to provide you with the resources that you need to succeed and be here to help you out, whether you want to come see me in my office in person or if you want to meet here on Zoom. For me to try to help you out as best as I can, I'll be glad to do that. My goal is to be the professor that you need me to be. So, hopefully you'll see that in the way I structure my class. I don't want you to do the class the way I want the class to be run. I'd like to give you some flexibility to do the class the way that you want to. So one of the things that you'll notice is that there's not daily assignments or anything like that. The class is basically broken up into four segments. And each segment will have a test and online homework due. Within those segments, you can choose to do the material as quickly or as slowly as you want. You have a lot of freedom to do this class at your own pace. But again, each of those four segments throughout the semester are deadline dates. And especially tests, I don't allow them done after the deadline. In the event that a student misses one of our four tests, they would just have to take our optional final. If they missed one of the four earlier tests, then the optional final is no longer optional. You'd need it in order to make up that missed test grade. And the final can also be used to make up low test grades too. So if you happen to struggle on a test this semester, then the final can come in and save a grade at the end of the semester by replacing the lowest test grade. Let's go ahead and look at our course here on Brightspace, and I'll try to show you around. So I try to do my Brightspace courses very simplistically, so you will know exactly where you need to look. Everything's basically under content. I don't do any quizzes. I don't do the discussion tabs and stuff like that. I'm not going to make you post about solving problems in a discussion board. I find stuff like that to be a waste of my students' time. So I don't want to do anything that wastes your time. I respect you and your time too much to give you busy work. So the only things that you'll have is the online actual calculus work through the Achieve platform. And then, of course, our tests throughout the semester. Um, the introductory video that you're watching right now, hopefully is posted right underneath this bold print. And just again, hi, I'm Jonathan Lamb. I am excited to work with you this semester. As I say here in the third sentence, integral calculus does give a lot of students difficulty. A lot of students say that this is the hardest class of the calculus sequence. I think it is significantly more difficult than Calculus 1. And then in terms of multivariable calculus, it just depends whether or not you can think well in three dimensions. If you can, then multivariable calculus is no problem. But this class is going to challenge you in a lot of ways that Calculus 1 didn't. In Calculus 1, you probably never really had many long problems. You'll have a bunch of long problems whenever we start integrating. It's a lot harder to go backwards than it is forwards, since integration is just the backwards process of differentiation. I do find this class fun, and my goal is to get you to try to see the fun in it too. I totally get that when you're frustrated with something and it's not coming to you, it's anything but fun. You're like, John, shut up, it's not fun. But my goal is to walk you through the problems and to get you to see, okay, here's the way we do this, here's the way we do that. And I think once you do similar problems to the problems that I do, and you have that feeling of success, you'll agree with me. Yeah, you got that sense of accomplishment. It can be fun. So in a way to, or one of my methods to not ever hopefully allow you to get frustrated as you're doing problems at home, you will never have to work a single problem that I haven't done something similar to myself. The entire online platform that I'll show you on Achieve with your online homework assignments, I have homework help videos of me working every single problem in every single one of your assignments. So as soon as you get to a problem that you struggle with, and you're like, gosh, how does this work? What I'm hoping you'll do is pull up the video where I've worked an extremely similar problem and explain the solution process to it, then go back and work your problems. Another thing I do to try to make it not frustrating is I don't limit the number of attempts you have on any problem. Every single problem on the homework assignment, you have unlimited attempts at. So I know that several of you who are in, like, for example, the engineering classes that use this same Achieve platform, teachers will limit the attempts to, say, 3 attempts or 5 attempts per problem. I don't do that. I let you have as many attempts as you like, and if you work it on the 20th attempt correctly, you get full credit. Hopefully it won't take 20 attempts. That's just an example. Most of the time, hopefully you'll get it right the first or second try. Now, as we go throughout the semester, my goal in the way that you do a calculus class is that you look at a lot of examples. Yes, you go through the theory to tell people what's going on, but instead of just the what's going on, how do I do this? So you'll see that my lectures are very problem oriented, and I try to look at the full gamut of difficulty levels, starting off each section with the basic problems and working the way up through the very beautiful, fun problems towards the end of the lectures, and similar in the homework assignments. One thing that's frustrating about this class is you can't be expected to integrate correctly if you forgot your derivative skills. So keep in mind, you'll need to go back and brush up on your derivatives in order to be successful in this class. If you can't quickly say derivative of sine is cosine, derivative of cosine is negative sine, derivative of tangent is secant squared, derivative of cotangent is negative cosecant squared, derivative of secant is secant tangent, derivative of cosecant is negative cosecant cotangent. If you can't do something like that really quickly and just, do it off the top of your head, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign. That's a good pun. So that's something that you will need to work on. You can, whenever you have your book, whether it's a physical copy of the book or the ebook that's within Achieve, you can go back to some of the earlier sections, like what I was just talking about with the derivatives of trigonometric functions. That's section 3.6. We start this class at chapter 5, but you could easily go back and look at previous sections and review over the material to make sure that you're successful in this class as well. I promise to do as much as I can. I think I've already got quite a bit of content. Students who have taken this class with me succeed with, in fact, succeed at a very high rate of success with the content that I have provided. However, if there's anything that you can think of that other teachers have that I don't have on here, or just something that you wish I would have done, please let me know. If it's within my power to do it, I will do it. I want to make sure that I provide you every possible resource that I'm capable of doing. So you'll find lectures for each section, complete homework video solutions, PDF notes to accompany each lecture. I've also posted the author's solutions manual if you would like to see some solutions to other problems that we didn't necessarily have, and my book homework solutions. Now, that's posted towards the end of the content page. That is not an assignment for us. However, again, just like the author's solutions manual, students are usually wanting, hey, could you post some other things? I need some more practice on some problems other than what's on Achieve. So only the Achieve homework assignments online are what I need you to do. But if you work through the Achieve assignments and you find yourself, hey, I wish I could see some more problems and make sure I see the answers toward them, then you can go to my to the scan of the book, and at the end of each section in the textbook, they'll have book homework assignments. And I have my solutions to what I would have assigned my in-person classes. With my in-person classes, I give them an option. They can either do the Achieve Online Homework Management System, or they can do a traditional textbook at the end of the section, work these problems. So you can see the solutions that I provide for my in-class students as extra problems for you. However, your assignment is the Achieve. Since this is an online class, it has to have the online homework platform. So now, other things, if you'd like to see the notes that the author would do for each section, I've got PowerPoint notes posted in there. I don't teach from those because I think teaching from PowerPoint is boring, but it's what the book would have instructors use to go throughout the sections and stuff. So I just posted that as an extra resource for you if you wanted to see some other notes for the sections that aren't necessarily mine. So again, if there's something else I can make available for you, let me know. Now, as far as that Achieve Online Homework Management System, please, please, please go ahead and sign up for it quickly. In fact, I have a training assignment that's due at the end of this month. So by August 31st, you absolutely must complete the Achieve training assignment. And then, of course, hopefully you would have already worked several of the sections of homework too, but you have to have the training assignment done by the 31st. Whenever you hit the link for Achieve, a lot of students think, oh, it's not doing anything. That's because the Achieve Macmillan site, it opens as a pop-up out of Brightspace. And so if you haven't enabled pop-ups from Macmillan Learning, whenever you hit that Achieve Home link, you're going to have to go up to your address bar and make sure that you allow pop-ups from Macmillan Learning. And after that, you should be fine. You can just refresh the page and it'll be no problem. Let's go ahead and look at the content here. Beginning of semester information. So just as a way to introduce, well, that's going to be the video. That's an old video that I did that I'll fix with this one. Now for this class, fall 2024, the Zoom link I'll use that I'm doing this from right here is the zoom.us/my, and math is cool. So it's easy for you to remember. Mine is just the Zoom page, math is cool, because math is cool. Now, you can click this during my office hours, or Let's say that my office hours here don't work for you. Oh, and I have a typo here. I'm not available Monday through Thursday, 11 to 2. It's 11 to 12, and I will fix that typo. Ooh, that's terrible. And Monday, Wednesday, 3:30 to 5. Uh, I actually have a class at 12 o'clock, so it's more like 11 to 11:55 or something like that. Now, if you need some help outside of those times and would like to see me on Zoom, all you have to do is send me an email, probably a day's notice, and we can plan ahead to the next day and go over whatever you'd like to go over, whether in Zoom or in person. Um, our book is the Rogowski Calculus book. The entire ebook is posted online. If you'd like a physical copy, the textbook's available in our bookstore for $40. It's just a loose leaf copy, but I actually find those very useful, and I think you would too, because it beats carrying around a thick textbook. The calculator that we allow for the class is the TI-84. You can use others, but we just don't allow anything with a computer algebra system on it. So if it's the Inspire CAS version or any of the 8992 Voyage, those are not permitted. If you use a calculator other than an 84, it's probably wise to let me know ahead of a testing time. And then assuming it's an approved calculator, I can let the test proctors know that your calculator is allowed. So if when you come to take my test with that calculator, they don't block you from using that calculator, because the testing proctors know to allow TI-84s, but they'll get pretty iffy about anything else other than that. As far as help resources throughout the semester, I truly hope I'm your first point of contact. No one's going to know what you need to know for my class better than me. So it's not that I'm the greatest at calculus or anything like that, but I know what I'm going to test you over, and I know what I emphasize in this class more so than anyone else will. And I'd be very happy to help you out. If I haven't already said it, I absolutely feel blessed to be in the job that I'm in. A lot of people hate their job. I love my job. I never, ever, ever do I go into Pellissippi to teach a class and say, oh gosh, I got to teach another class today. No, I love it. I love it. I'm not crazy about this online format because I don't get the interaction with students and stuff. But I'll do my best. And hopefully, my excitement comes across in a positive way to you as you do the problems and it doesn't annoy you. I always tell myself, John, don't be annoying. Don't be annoying. I'll try not to be. As we do the problems throughout the semester, just keep in mind, if I get excited in a problem, just say, okay, it's because he's a math nerd. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, often as I do a difficult homework problem or something, I'll be like, yes. That's just me. Um, Sometimes, particularly with math, you need a different perspective. So maybe I'm explaining things in a way that it's not clicking with you. We do have a good tutoring center, and there are several tutors in there that can help out with this class. So you might want to give that a shot too. And like I said, on our Brightspace page that we're on right now, I think I have tons of resources that will help you out. And if there's something else that you'd like added to these resources, let me know. Now, as far as classroom policies, this is an asynchronous class. There's no attendance or anything like that. You just have to show up for my 4 required tests throughout the semester. And of course, as far as your homework, you've got to do the homework by each of the 4 testing deadlines. So each 4 sets of homework deadlines is at the exact same time as the deadline for the end of the testing period. So it correlates extremely well. Now, the way that homework is done is it's through the Achieve online platform, which we'll look at here in just a minute. Like I say here, your ebook's also there. You'll have an assignment for every section that we cover. Uh, every problem in each assignment allows unlimited attempts. You'll be able to check with my achieved work to see me do an example of the very similar problems for every single problem that you have. Your achieve homework average will be worth 40% of your overall course grade. Now, of course, I can't go back and show you my previous Calc 2 online classes because of privacy issues, but I really wish I could. Of the students who take this class with me, I would guess no less than 90% of students have a homework average of 95 or above. So with effort, it is extremely easy to get an A homework average in this class, but it does take effort. You're going to run into problems that stump you. And sometimes, even after watching my video of a similar problem, you'll still be like, how does that help me with my problem? And in those rare instances where that comes up, that's when you contact me and you have me help you through it. I'd love to do that with you. But now keep in mind, you got unlimited attempts, and that's worth 40% of your grade. Now, the other 60% comes from your 4 tests. That means each test is worth 15% apiece. You'll have a Monday through Saturday window to take each test. So 6 days, since Pellissippi is not open on Sunday. And then if one of the tests, or if you miss a test or one of the test grades is low, then you just take my optional final exam, and it just replaces one of the 4. The optional final exam does not count in and of itself. It's an unnecessary test, but it can replace one of the earlier 4. So I just take the top 4 of your 5 tests, and 15% apiece for the 60% of your grade. And whenever I give you tests in the testing center, I don't limit your time. Every student can take as much time as you want on my test. I don't like stressing students out. But now you automatically limit your time by what time that you arrive. Um, so the testing center often will close, let's say 2 or 3 o'clock, or on Wednesdays usually they're open till about 7 or 7:30. But let's say, for example, that they close at 2 p.m. If you arrive at 12:30, you've automatically limited yourself to an hour and a half for that test. And I would not be sympathetic if you said, I didn't finish the test, I didn't have enough time. Well, that's on you. So please make sure that you arrive at the testing center to give yourself enough time to take the test in a timely manner. And you're going to know how long it takes you to take the test, because I have a practice test posted online for each one. And just like your homework is just a regenerated version of my homework, your tests are just a regenerated version of my practice test. So if on a practice test I have, for number 7, integrate the cosine of 5x plus 8 with respect to x, then on the actual test I might have integrate the sine of 3x minus 7 with respect to x. It's going to be extremely similar. If I have the integral of one trig function on one test, it'll be the integral of a trig function on the other one. It won't ever be the exact problem, but it'll be very similar. So if you take my practice tests as an actual practice on your own, and then check your answers against my answers, and I also have video solutions for each practice test, but you should have a very good idea of how long it's going to take you to complete the test and what the test is like before you ever even step in the testing center. Most students finish my test in an hour and a half, except for test 3. Test 3, usually 2 to 3 hours. It's the longest, hardest test of the semester. But the quicker students will even finish that test in an hour, hour and a half. But don't ever put yourself in a time crunch to where you have to do it that rapidly. Um, Final exam will be available December 9th through 11th. Keep in mind, like I've tried to say a few times, my final is not mandatory. It's an optional final exam. It's only used if you want to replace one of these four test grades from above. Now, the final exam, unlike these tests, these four tests up here, you can take them in any testing center you want, whether it's the main campus, Hardin Valley Testing Center, Strawberry Plains, Magnolia, Blount County. All of those are fine for my first four tests. The final exam is only available in the main Hardin Valley Testing Center, just because I have to make sure that I get your exam back in order for the deadline for me to report your grades. So I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to grade your work to reward you for your efforts. So it has to be main campus only for that final exam. Ways to ensure a good grade in my class: try to stay on track. While I do give you a lot of flexibility and freedom, I would recommend that you try to stay on somewhat pace with the class. So if you're crammed in another class and don't get to spend any time doing Calc 2 for a week, try to make up for it that next week and do double time to get caught back up. If you get any more than, say, a week behind, that's doesn't bode well for you. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it doesn't bode well. So sometimes students struggle with the freedom that I give in this class, and they say, I wish you would be more structured with your due dates and have more frequent due dates throughout the semester. And while I understand that, I only teach adults in this class, and I expect you to have the ability to monitor yourself and know what you need to do. So along with that freedom comes the responsibility to use that freedom wisely. Uh, Please make sure that you do. Now, a lot of times students will say, well, I'll just start cramming a couple of days before the test and do all the homework right before. And that's not effective for most students. And in fact, they usually don't get the homework done and start contacting me after the deadline and say, hey, can you please open up these assignments? I need that homework grade. And I'm not saying I won't ever help you out in a situation like that. I frequently do reopen unfinished homework assignments for students after deadlines. It's just that also costs you on the test, because if you haven't done the homework, you're not going to do well on the test. But talking about the homework, if there are some times where you get behind and a deadline approaches and you don't get it done, occasionally I'll be glad to help you out and um, reopen a few sections for you to let you boost up that homework grade and get it done. I just don't want to make a habit and keep on doing it and doing it and doing it for students. Students who have worked, or students who work diligently, have essentially no chance of not doing well in this class. I mean, if you think about it, you really do have um, a fairly good shot of getting a 100 for 40% of the class grade. That means in order to get a C, you just have to average a 50 on my four tests, because that would give you 30% of the remaining 60 points. So if you do perfectly on the homework, which there's no reason you shouldn't, since you have my similar solutions, and then do 50% on my test, you'd get a C for the semester. Now, hopefully, you're not shooting for a C. I want you to do a lot better than that. The A's start at 90, B's start at 80, and then, of course, 60 is the D and below 60F. If you're beginning to struggle with any part of this course, please see me for help. I'm very willing to help you if you're willing to put in the work. Uh, Feel like I've got a lot of resources available to help you. But again, if you can think of something else that I need, let me know and I'll try to make that available too. Now, we've looked at the policy sheet. As far as the pacing guide here, This is, like I said, the class is broken up into four segments, and at the end of each segment, you'll have a homework set and a test due. You'll see the first 4 weeks that ends September 14th. You're supposed to do watch all the lectures, 5.1 through 5.6, and do all of the Achieve homework assignments for those sections. You have a training assignment before the homework assignments that's due August 31st. The Achieve homework is due at the deadline of the test day, but now the test in the testing center, I believe the testing center closes on Saturday at 2 o'clock. So you'll have to do the test by 2 o'clock Saturday. The Achieve homework platform is open till midnight on that same day. So you'd have until midnight of the test day deadline to get the homework done. Now, if you do plan to take the test elsewhere, usually I'll post the main campus testing hours, and those are the only ones I know just because I teach on the main campus. But at any time, you can just hit these links and it should take you right to the testing center and show you their hours for the semester. For example, you can see Saturday, I was just saying that they're open till 2. But that's, of course, the main campus. Blount County doesn't look like they're open Saturday. Magnolia, no. Strawberry. So if you're going to take it on the last day of availability, you're taking it at the main campus anyway. It looks like Strawberry Plains open Tuesday, Wednesday. Magnolia, Wednesday, Thursday. Blount County looks like Monday, Thursday. So there is some availability through there. And then you can see main campus open every day and even longer on Wednesday, closed on Saturday, of course. Now, I'm thinking that these were their hours as of the summer. They'll probably expand a little bit, and I bet really expand on the site campuses. Normally, the fall and spring semesters have more hours than the summer hours. These are their hours from the summer, so you can depend on at least this generous of a testing center schedule. Now, for the second block of material, you'll see it covers sections 5.7 through 6.4. You would watch all of my videos for that, do the homework for that, all by October 5th. And then after that, we have our fall break. Right before fall break, hopefully, I'll be able to give you an idea of your midterm grades and stuff like that, or maybe during fall break. And that would just be the average of the first 2 test grades and looking at your homework grades. Weeks 9 through 12, October 14th through November 9th. This is the gorgeous part of the class. I think chapter 7 is the part of the class that's the hardest. It's all different integration techniques and just very, very fun stuff. So that test is our longest test. The homework 7.1 through 7.7 and the test would be due by November 9th. You can see that the testing window for that test would open Monday, November 4th, and then stay open till Saturday, November 9th there. Weeks 13 through 16, the last part, chapter 10, it gets down. So it hits a peak in difficulty in chapter 7, then drops off of a cliff. And the last unit's not too challenging, over infinite summations. So November 11th through December 7th, you'll have the 8.2 through 10.6 material. And the testing week for that is December 2nd through 7th. By the 7th, you should have all of the homework and all of your 4 tests taken. And hopefully, I'll be able to grade a lot and give everybody that Sunday what their averages would be without the final exam, to give you an idea of whether it would benefit you or not to take the final exam. So especially on that last test, it would probably benefit you and me for you to try to take the test earlier in the cycle. That way, it gives me a chance to actually grade your test and give you feedback on it to let you know your standing for whether or not you need to take the final exam. Final exam can't hurt anybody. So if for some reason you don't get feedback back in time, doesn't hurt anything to take the final. If you bomb the final, it won't count. If the final is better than any one of your earlier four test grades, it replaces it. So it's you lose nothing other than the time it takes to take it. And again, the final exams main testing center only. And now let's see the other things I have through here. If I go to the Achieve website now, you'll click this Achieve Home link. And now for me, it's going to work because I already have pop-ups allowed from Macmillan Learning. But if for some reason you click that link and it doesn't open in another window or another tab, you'll just need to go to your browser address bar and allow pop-ups from Macmillan Learning. And when you do, this should come right up and you can see the training assignment is right here. That's where the deadline is October 31st. You'll see your first few homework assignments, and I always go to view all to see them all. But 5-1 through 5-6 is due September 14th. You'll see the 5-7 through 6-4 due October 5th. And you'll see each of our other blocks, 4 blocks of content due at the later dates on down through there. You can also see the ebook over here has the entire book. You can just choose the section that you want. We're starting with chapter 5 and we'll work through chapter 10 in this class. Multivariable goes through or starts with chapter 11, of course. But if you do need to go back, it's got the earlier content too, if you just need to use that as a resource. But now again, whenever you go into your course like that, some people, instead of the assignments look, they prefer the course content look. I'm not a huge fan of this. It's like if I wanted to go into chapter 5, notice it'll have the chapter 5 section, the summary for the section from the book, and then followed by your homework assignment. 5-2 book section, 5-2 summary, 5-2 homework. You'll see the homework always has the due dates there. So this is nice because it puts the book and the homework all on the same page. The problem with it is I think it might be easy to overlook a homework assignment as you're scrolling up and down. So I always recommend you to at least refer, even if you don't always use it, but at least refer to the assignments tab so you can quickly see if you've addressed every single homework assignment throughout the course like that. Now, as far as what I've done to try to help you out, you'll see I have Achieve Help videos. So let's say, for example, now the reason some sections are broken into multiple segments is because sometimes not Achieve, but sometimes Zoom would log me off if I did a video for more than 40 minutes. And that got frustrating. So I started blocking off the videos into segments to ensure that my Zoom didn't cut me off in the middle of a problem. But now in that first section, for example, some of the problems toward the end get very challenging. It deals with you're trying to find the area under a curve, and so you're breaking the curve up into infinitely many spaces. You start off with easier problems, right-hand rectangles, left-hand rectangles, where we just have a finite amount. And then we say, well, okay, what if we want to know the exact area under the curve? And you say, well, I could put an infinite amount of rectangles, and then every rectangle would just be a little line correctly measuring the area all the way up. It's called a Riemann sum, and that's what we refer to them in 5.2. But those problems in the homework in the first section can get pretty darn challenging. Oh, and the first one I'm looking at right here, number 25, it's an infinite Riemann sum problem where I'm trying to find the area underneath 12x quantities squared from the interval or over the interval -1 to 5. And so you can see me working out that problem here. Now, this video says it starts at 21, so I'd have to scroll. So
Yes.
yeah,
So in
21.
this one, we're
So
going to be
I would have
looking
to scroll probably about midway through in order to get to that one I was just
I
talking
squared,
about.
which is my
Yeah,
n
there
times
we
n
go.
plus 1.
So you can see
So now I
if
can
I
say,
struggled
okay,
with
this
that, I
is
could just kind
looking
of
pretty
scroll
good at this
midway
point.
through my video and
I'll
start
go
watching
ahead
out where I was
bring
doing a
out
problem
any
like this
terms
and
I can.
hopefully
I know that
explaining
this
it in a manner that you're able to follow along with me. Now, if for some reason, whenever you watch my video and you're like, I still don't get that, that's where we need to work together. You can send me an email or join my Zoom sections or sessions, I should say, and we'll look at the problem that you have and um, try to make sure that you understand it to the best of your and my ability. The lecture videos for each of the sections are here. This should be your starting point. Now, um, please do watch the lectures here in Brightspace. On my instructor account, I'm looking in student view right now, so it doesn't show it. But on my instructor account, it allows me to see beneath the videos which students have watched the video and how long they spent watching the videos. So I not that I'm going to be necessarily keeping track of that and say, oh, how dare you not watch every single minute of my videos. But if you'd like me to know that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing in the class, then please watch them on here. Don't just click on it and watch it on YouTube. I can't track that. So if you watch it on YouTube, then Brightspace doesn't track it. I don't have a clue whether you watched it or how much of it you watched it at all. But if you watch it all within the Brightspace screen and you can maximize it and all that stuff like that, that looks pretty scary. Yeah, you can let me know that you've done the work like you're supposed to. And I'd appreciate that. But again, it's not like I'm going to go through there and penalize students who aren't watching my videos or every single minute. You should, but I'm not going to deduct points if you don't and stuff like that. It's just that when a student says, gosh, this doesn't make sense, well, then I like to go back and see why isn't it making sense? Maybe because you're not watching the material. So that would be something I would like to see. Um, let's see, a practice test. I was talking about my practice test. You will never, ever, ever step into the testing center and say, gosh, I don't know what he's going to test. The tests that I give in the testing center are identical in format to my practice tests here. All I do whenever I create your tests that I give throughout the semester, I actually start with this as a template for my tests. And I just go through each problem and change the content within the problem. So number 6, it's a very similar to the homework problem. We was just looking at, I think it was number 25 and 5.1. Use a Riemann sum to find the integral from -2 to 5 of 3x squared minus x plus 2. With respect to x. So that's the type of problem that you cannot do just by evaluating a definite integral. That's not what I'm asking you to do there. I'm asking you to use an infinite Riemann sum. So this is the type of problem where you would have to learn the Riemann sum infinite summation technique and do it that way. Sometimes students are like, well, what if I can get to the answer? Should you really? Well, yeah, I care what way you get it if the problem specifically says use a Riemann sum. If it just said evaluate that integral, I wouldn't care how you get to the answer. But sometimes it's the process that we're concerned about more so than just the specific answer. And that will be true a lot of times on this first test. We'll learn the shortcut techniques and stuff a little later on, and in fact, all of the techniques of integration later on. And this one, we're more focusing on the theory and what's an integral doing. Integration is an infinite summation, so we need to understand how to do an infinite summation without an integration before we just jump into integration too. Now, looking at the next one, you can see that not only do I post the practice test, but I post the solutions. This is like for example, that problem I was just talking about where we had to evaluate the integral -2 to 5 of 3x squared minus x plus 2 with respect to x. We had to evaluate it as an infinite Riemann sum. So I try to show the work. This is what I would expect to see for a full credit answer. So there should be never any doubt about, well, I don't know what he wants. You should. So always look at what I'm doing on the practice to know what's going to be expected of you on the actual test. And then if you need explanations to go along with the solutions, that's where you click on my test videos and it will have a video of me working each of the practice tests and talking about it, hopefully step by step. So you can see me pointing to that specific problem I was just talking about. So now you have practice tests for all of our 4 tests and a practice test for the optional final for those few who end up taking the final. Test solutions. Obviously, there's none that are posted now because we haven't had any tests, but after I do tests, I will put detailed solutions to every test, just as detailed as what I do for my practice test solutions. That way, whenever you get your test back, I'll try to grade your tests as quickly as I can. And what I do is I scan and email the graded version to you. And then you can look at that graded version and see what's right and wrong, compare it to the solutions that I have online. I try not to write up each a test too much, so you won't see a whole lot of red ink written all over it and stuff like that. You'll just see X's and minus so much. Every problem on a test is worth 1 point. So if you just left a problem blank, -1. If you did poorly, minus 0.7. An average mistake, minus 0.5. Small mistake, probably minus 0.3. So usually those are my indicators. Minus 0.3, pretty good, but wrong. Minus 0.5, average mistake. Minus 0.7, bad mistake. And -1 means you didn't have a clue or didn't try it. But then you could take that input versus what I've done online. And there's sometimes that I may grade wrong. You might look at your test and say, hey, he counted this wrong, and it's the exact same thing as he has for this solution. That's when you contact me. I make mistakes, and I'll gladly fix those mistakes in a case like that. So it really does benefit you to look at your tests and make sure I grade them correctly too, although I promise to try to grade them all correctly all the time. PowerPoint notes, this is if you want to see what the author has not solutions, but if the author has notes for each of the sections, that's what would be posted here. If you would like to just see a scan of the work that I did to do my Achieve homework, sometimes it's a lot quicker just to scroll through written work than it is to watch a video and scroll to it and stuff in there. That's what this is there for. So my 5.1 Achieve homework assignment you see took me, geez, how many pages is that? First assignment took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. So 5.1 assignment took me 6 pages. And I don't think all of them in chapter 5 are that long, but that one was. Now, this would hopefully allow you to see what I did in my problem and compare it to what your problem is. But now if you don't get it, then need to go to the video for further explanation of what was going on in the problem. So sometimes it's enough just to look at the written work, sometimes it's not. Notes from lecture videos. So if you want to see what the notes of what I talked about in my lecture videos, those are posted here. So you don't have to take notes. You can see these are the notes I referred to as I talked about in the videos for each of the sections. So this is the same notes I would do if I were teaching this in person. And then let's see. Your book, your book obviously is posted here in um, Achieve, each of the sections like that. I wanted to also do a scan of it here. The reason is just because it's a lot easier. If you want to print out a few pages of your book, it's a lot easier to print it out from these scans that I have here. It's fairly difficult to print out pages from the text on here. It appears fairly nice on the screen. And you'd have to do the print screen feature and stuff like that. But I didn't have a whole lot of luck with it, and as far as trying to print it out. So if you'd rather print out a few pages to use as a resource, it's a lot easier to do with the scans I've done of the book there. Let's see, your book. Oh, my solutions to book homework problems. This is not for us, but if you want to see other examples, you can go to where I have the previous post with my book, scroll to the end of the section, and then you can see if our class was a traditional class, I would have assigned my traditional class homework problems out of the end of 5.1. I'd have said 1 through 9 odd, 13 through 59 odd, and number 67. And then you can see how I worked through problems like this. You'll see a pretty close correspondence to what I've done here with the homework assignments out of the book and our Achieve online homework. You'll see the infinite Riemann sum problems like 53 out of the textbook is a problem very similar to that. 55 is, 57 is. So these are the infinite Riemann sum problems through here where we're trying to break up a region into infinitely many rectangles to estimate the area under the curve exactly. But that would just give you more examples to look at if you wanted. It's not a requirement. Just wanted to give you an extra resource. Let's see. And after that, it's just the author solutions manual. So if my extra solutions out of the book weren't enough and you just wanted to see all of the solutions from the book, well, I should say all odd solutions from the book, I have posted the student solutions manual. So it would take you into each of these sections and you'd see what the author of the textbook would do for each of the problems that are assigned in the textbook. So it gives you another resource to look at. Now, that's all I have under content right now. Please do keep in mind, first things first, you need to click on that Achieve. You need to do that whenever you do click on that link to Achieve. You need to go into the assignments and do that training assignment, followed by the homework assignment starting at section 5.1 and hopefully 5.1 after you watch my lecture video for 5.1. The grades for the class, notice underneath the grades link, it'll also give you a reminder that first test ends availability September 14th, as well as the homework 5.1 through 5.6 ends availability then. Second test, October 5th, third test, November 9th, fourth test, December 7th, and then you have the optional final Monday through Wednesday and final exam week. And keep in mind, while I will post your exam grades through here, your Achieve grade will not. You'll always need to look on Achieve underneath your grade book to see what your current running average is in there. And that should be about it. I think I've talked about everything. Some teachers will use things like uh, quizzes and discussion boards and stuff. I don't do any of that. Might have already said, I don't want to waste your time with things that don't help your knowledge of calculus. I don't like busy work. If it's not about calculus, then I'm not going to assign it. Okay, guys. So if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to contact me either on my cell. You'll see my cell number on the policy sheet, 865-604-2199. Please text me the first time. And you can also email me, jwlam@pstcc.edu. I'll make sure I have these methods of contact in the announcement as well. Yeah, I should. I'll put that right under here as far as best methods of contacts, or join me on Zoom here in the first couple of weeks if you have any questions. The best times will be that 11 to 12 o'clock time, Monday through Thursday, or after 3:30 on Monday, Wednesday. I look forward to working with you this semester. And again, let me know if I can help you out in any way.